Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show. Stepping up to the microphone are your hosts, Drew Gann and Rusty Witten. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another jam-packed, exciting edition of the Two Buck Sports Show. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, coming to you here on a rainy Thursday night, recording for Friday in what is, Drew, one of the best times of the year for sports fans, right? You got the NBA season starting to wind down, playoffs coming up. We got March Madness around the corner. College baseball is kicking up. Don't look now, but some of our favorite teams in college baseball and the NBA are starting to get hot and win some games. It's a great time to be a sports fan. Drew, welcome to the show, sir.
Hey, Rusty. It was a beautiful Thursday here in North Mississippi, and what makes it beautifuler is that I haven't been to work this week except for one day. But
why is that?
Well, the birth of my fourth child.
Let's go.
So we'll get back right into it. That is the topic of the day. That has been the topic of my life for the last 6 months and definitely the last week, 6 days, this past 6 days. And so, as everybody knows that listens to this show, my wife was in the short road. She was in the terminal stages of pregnancy. And that all ended last Friday. My baby boy, Banks Wiley, we came up with the name Wiley. It's a family name. And if you don't like it, blame yourself, because listeners, I gave you an opportunity to help. and had no takers. Nobody had a strong opinion one way or the other. So Banks Wiley is his name, coming in at 8 pounds and 1 ounce.
Man. And
20 inches long. We had him Friday at 12:36 in Tupelo Hospital. And it was an experience. Let me tell you. This is the second child, biological child, that I have seen born from my wife. And so I was expecting, one may be just the same as the other. And I can tell you, for mostly good reasons, it is not. Because the first time around, we pushed for, I always say we, because I was in there. And, of course, I'm taking some credit, okay?
Sure.
I'm not a knot on a lock, okay?
I want all the credit and none of the blame.
Yeah. It was hard labor for me and my wife, okay? And she labored for like a day and a half and pushed for 2.5 hours.
While you sat in an uncomfortable hospital room.
Yeah. And and it ended, this is our first child, Jenny. It ended with the OBGYN putting a little cone on her head with a hose tied to it, pumping up, getting suction on it, and taking that baby out of my wife's womb. I mean, she just skipped across the floor like a rock on a steel lake. That was the first one. And so leading up to it, my wife we had our son at 39 weeks, and she was at 39 weeks and some change, and she was absolutely miserable. She had gotten to the point to where she wasn't sleeping. She couldn't move easily. She couldn't pick anything up off the floor, and just psychologically and physically drained like the last month to 6 weeks of this pregnancy. So the first time he said, "Are you wanting to have the baby?" She said yes. And he said, "Okay, come back tonight." And that was last Thursday. So that's why we recorded our show early Thursday. As soon as we shut the laptops here, we headed off to Tupelo and started the process of having a baby. And he came here into the world at lunchtime on Friday. And so, yeah, mother, son, everybody's great. We have really felt the outpouring of love and support. It's a best and a beef of the week, the amount of people that show up when you have a child,
I'm included in that.
Yeah. Well, Rusty brought gifts, so everybody's welcome as long as they show up with something.
Yeah.
So tonight was the first night we've cooked our own food. So we've made it, 7 days out of the hospital that we did not make our own dinner or lunch.
Not bad.
So,
It's
just a feeling like no other. I'm this makes 4 for us. We've got 2 of each. I'm done. So, man.
I can confirm. Like, you may look at my esteemed colleague and co-host here and think there's no way he can make a good-looking child. but they're 2 for 2 in the babies that they have made biologically, that they are some good looking kids. I went to Ripley on Sunday and held my newest nephew for well over an hour, just chilling in my lap, hung out with him while he napped, and cute freaking kid, man. Just a sweet little kid. And I do want to give a shout out to Haley because she was under strict instructions to not have this baby in a way that interfere with the podcast, this show, this recording. And dadgummit, she did it. She tried her best the week before, but she
little did she know
Haley,
that
I
Rusty
appreciate it.
Little did she know Rusty's dog was going to have a vet's appointment at 4:00 the same day she wanted to go into labor, and allowed us to record early.
You know, sometimes, Drew, like you see a shooting star or you see things that are going to bring good luck and they mean good fortune. And for us, it was a vet appointment, and me getting this dog is being wild tonight. So I apologize in advance to our listeners. I'm going to try and catch the mute when she gets sassy, but she is on a tear tonight. So bear with us, faithful listeners.
Yeah. And so it's an easy best of the week for me. You know, as a show here, we sit down on the stream here a few minutes before we hit record, and we kind of just talk about what we're lacking for the show or what we've got for the show. And every week it seems like we have a beef because we notice the beefs, you know. And so it's kind of a spoiled life that we live, that we don't appreciate the best because we're always kind of like, what good happened this week? Well, I know what didn't happen my way, and I remember those, but you got to think about the best that's happened.
Yeah.
This is no comparison. I will say, as my daughter was born I think she was born at 8:16 at night, the Grizzlies were clinching a game in Madison Square Garden against the Knicks, a win. Banks came into the world at noon. Later that night, the Grizzlies played against the Portland Trailblazers, who have won 15 games, and the Grizzlies lost by 30.
Got blown out.
So, yeah. I guess I'll rank my kids now.
I'm not saying you could pick a favorite, but
yeah,
the times were different on 2-2-22 for the Memphis Grizzlies. But we'll get into that in our second segment tonight for sure. That's a hard beat, best of the week to top, man. That's for sure. It's nothing like a child being born. So, Drew, to you and Haley, cheers, brother. Congratulations. Proud of y'all, man. That's awesome.
Appreciate you, Rusty.
Yeah, man.
All right. Best thing that happened to you this week.
It's just been like life's been pretty good these last couple of weeks, man. You know, 2024 didn't get off to the best start for me, and definitely getting a lot of saying.
That's one way to put it.
I mean, yeah. So it's really nice to finally start getting some wins and some nods and some winks coming my way. And I've been cryptic a couple times. You giving me crap about it. We had an all-fair conversation about it. I've been cryptic for a reason, but just really grateful for these last couple of weeks and some reconnections and some connections that are forming, you know, shooting stars, things are lining up. It's just fun to, I know, right? But it's just nice to be on the bright side of life again. And so they're listening, you know who you are. Big wink and a nod that direction. More to come in the future episodes. We're being cryptic for a reason, but life is good right now, man. I can't complain. I'm fighting a sickness right now, but you know, the immune system's strong. It is what it is. You know, I'm pissed. I lived at the beach for 6 years and took like 4 allergy pills the whole time I'm there. And I've been constantly in a state of sickness since I've been back, but that's not going to get down on me for my best of the week. I'm just grateful for kind of life where it's at right now and the direction things are heading. So yeah, it's cryptic. It's broad. Stay tuned for more details, but I'm excited about the direction life is finally starting to head.
Well, Rusty, I would just challenge you to write this down. Just write it down. Anytime it goes the other way, just remember.
Yeah.
Sometimes things work out, you know?
That's right, man. You know, we had some late night conversations, you and I, and some things at the beginning of the year. And it's just nice to see some of that stuff coming to fruition and heading in the absolute opposite direction. So,
well, cheers to that. Well, let me get to my beef of the week. Because there's somebody who just spent 3 nights in a hotel room. Let me tell you.
A hotel room?
All right, I'm sorry. I've been doing that all week. Hospital room.
I was about to say.
A 6-day-old in the house with a terrorizing 2-year-old. And so, yeah, I'm a little jet lagged. Forgive me. But I spent 3 nights in a hospital room. And let me tell you, I've got beefs. First off, hospitals taking a lot of money. Trust me, this is my second kid that I've had in a hospital. I have spent time in a Panama City hospital in which my appendix taken out. I've spent time in hospitals, and trust me, when the bill comes, I know that hospital's taking in some money. Okay.
Yeah.
I want the hospitals, with our money that we give them, to invest in the patient a little bit. In particular, the father in this women's hospital. Okay.
Yeah.
The chairs are crap. Okay. I did get enough sleep, but the chair in the delivery room was better than the chair in the hospital room they transferred us to. I mean, garbage. Okay. That's not my beef. My beef is the fact that here in the year of our Lord 2024, every single hospital room has a TV that's too small. That's not my beef either. There's a TV that's too small, but the speakers on the TV is in a 1980s remote control that is tied to the bed. Like, you've got to be, we have got to be doing better than this as a country. Like, me and my wife, who cannot sit in or sleep in the same bed for more than one reason. It's like a twin size bed, and she just went through delivering a child. We have to somehow crank that TV up to 1,000, and then I have to hold the remote control out like this in between us, so that both of us can hear the grainy audio from cable television on a 22-inch TV mounted to the top of the ceiling.
Watching In the Heat of the Night.
Yes. Just flipping through cable. I don't know the channels, okay? I wish if I had $1 for every time I made a lap on that TV channel clicker, I could have paid to have the baby myself. Like, it's just absolute garbage. How everything is wireless, Wi-Fi oriented, or everything can be. I can talk to any room in my house with a little Alexa circle. Okay.
Yeah, I've seen you turn your light off tonight.
Yes. Yet, in a hospital, with all of its technology, uses a speaker attached to a remote control, which is tethered to the bed.
Yeah.
Explain this to me.
Yeah, man. As somebody, my father, most of our listeners know that my dad's health is not great. Been in and out of hospitals for years with him. And we as a family are big believers. You never stay by yourself. So we rotate and take turns. I was there for him when he had his hip replaced back last year and stayed in the hospital there in Magnolia. It is well documented that I am 6'5" and I'm 241 pounds as of this morning. Solid pounds, somewhat. Yeah. Anyway, these beds and these chairs are not built for dudes like built like me, man. And so sleeping in these chairs and beds, like you said, we're watching In the Heat of the Night or Matlock at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. And Matt, like, it comes on cable TV, or you watch QVC because there's literally nothing else on. Also, I know we're here for the patient to get better, but do we have to come check blood pressure and vitals at 2:30 a.m. when I'm just getting to sleep? It's a joke.
That's another relax. Beef.
But
try having a kid. When you have a kid, it takes that to a different level, because that baby just get to sleep, and on the hour they're waking that kid up to take his temperature. I'm in the
ICU with my dad in Memphis and at Baptist there off of Walnut Grove, and it's 3 a.m. and he is hooked up to all these IVs. He's got a breathing apparatus. He just had emergency surgery for his back. I'm sleeping in a bedside chair. It's 3:05 in the morning. Mr. 3:05. Like, I'll remember this is the day that I die. 3:05 in the morning. I'm laying in that chair, and this nurse knocks on the door, and she opens the door. There's like a 6-bed unit here in the ICU at Baptist. She opens the door and she goes, "Do y'all need a snack?" And I'm like, "Ma'am, I'm chubby. I'm well aware. Like, I am chubby.
I am not going without a snack, okay?
But I'm asleep. But do you have Cheetos?"
Like, no, I never eat while I'm sleeping. But since I'm awake now, I'll take
do you have
Cheetos?
Yeah. And do you have the puffs? Because I'm here for it if you do. Like, just
nobody under the age of 6 should eat Cheetos puffs.
Get out of here, man. Miss me.
Those are garbage. Those are absolute garbage.
Love the Cheetos puffs. You're garbage if you don't like the Cheetos.
You've got like 3 days to eat the puffs before they turn into rocks.
Okay, when I open the bag, it is consumed. I ain't worried about 3 days later. Also, there's a restaurant here in Martin, Tennessee. Hang on real quick. There's a restaurant here in Martin, Tennessee. Shout out, no free shout outs. I'm not even gonna give the name because they don't pay me for it. But they have a dish that's called, it's a buffalo chicken bowl. And it's got rice, buffalo chicken. It's got house-made ranch. And then they crush up flaming hot Cheetos and dust it on top. And it is banging. It's so good, man.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let me ask you this, and obviously, I'm sure that some of our listeners here are going to agree with me, and so this is for them, not for you necessarily. But Cheetos Puffs are garbage. Okay, however, Cheeto Balls are incredible. Why is
they're the same? They're the same thing.
I think it's the delivery.
I'll tell this. I'm going to show my age here, and this is going to kind of agree with your point.
In a keg.
The big barrel of them. I'm going to show my age here, though. Back in my day, back in the 90s, yes, my birth year begins in a 198. So
you are old. I'm a 199.
Yeah, I'm a 198. I was talking about that today. Most of my coworkers are young college students, and all their birthdays start with a 20, and I'm like, I don't want to hear anything.
I was born in the 20th century.
I don't want to hear anything. I was born in the 1900s back in the day. Anyhow, Butterfingers are one of my favorite candy bars. I know a lot of people don't care for Butterfingers.
10 out of 10.
Love Butterfingers. They're like number one is Butterfinger in all my, but the true number one doesn't exist anymore. It's Butterfinger BBs. It was literally the same thing, but they were little round balls of Butterfingers, and they were like as good as Butterfingers are. And if you disagree, let me know in the comments, but just know that you're wrong. I like Butterfinger BBs take it to a whole nother level. Like Butterfingers are a 10 out of 10. BBs are a 15 out of 10. They were so good. They had Bart Simpson on the bag, but they don't exist anymore. They went by the way of the sitcom dinosaurs and Frasier. It's just gone in the 90s.
Frasier's back.
Oh, that's right. I forgot it's back.
Maybe BBs are coming back.
Let's go.
If you're going to make that parallel, then the BBs are coming back.
BBs and bring back Surge, because nothing gives you a heart attack on a road trip like Surge soda, which has got 1,000 milligrams of caffeine and Butterfinger BBs. Let's go.
Reminds me of that How I Met Your Mother episode where they look back and they're like, their drink was Tantrum. Tantrum.
Yeah.
Every time you drink one, you yell Tantrum. You know?
My
cousin Kirk had a Surge lunchbox that he brought to school at Costas Middle School.
That's awesome. Mama banned Surge from road trips when we'd go visit Papa down in Shibuya because Clark and I would get Surges. I'd get Butterfinger BBs. He'd get M&Ms or whatever. And by Tupelo, we were riding on the roof because we were so wired.
Yeah. And the thing about Surge, the reason why they don't sell it anymore, and this is a fact, don't look it up, is because it had so much caffeine in it that you didn't get like a caffeine boost. You got like a caffeine blast. That high lasted for hours.
And it was like Four Loko before you could drink Four Loko, right? Like you were just sitting there, you're drinking Surge, and all of a sudden it was just like Tasmanian Devil, full on just hyperdrive. And
Four Loko NA.
They banned it at Kossuth High School because we were just like all like raging in the desk, you know.
Yeah. Oh, that's fun.
What a throwback. Fun. Maybe that's, I had a different beef of the week about being old and all this kind of stuff. My beef of the week is Surge and Butterfinger BBs no longer being a thing. I miss those days of the good stuff, man. Like the 90s, maybe we should, in the off season, we're going to bring back our drafts and top fives and all that stuff. Maybe we should do like top 5 discontinued snacks because there's so many good ones that aren't around anymore. Like, I remember we used to get this popcorn that would pop and it'd be blue or purple, and it's probably what's going to give me cancer one day because there's no telling what's in that stuff.
Food coloring.
Yellow number 5, purple number 7, like RIP to us. But it is. Yeah. But then again, we grew up eating at Ryan's and Barnhill's most weeks, and so I'm pretty sure if I ate there, I'm immune to everything except for whatever I got going on.
That's what I tell my wife when my daughter throws my son's pacifier on the ground and just sticks it back in his mouth. She's like, hey, he ain't going. It can't be no worse than Ryan's.
Listen, man, I can remember we would take my granddad to the VA in Memphis, and he loved the Ryan's was like his favorite restaurant. 2A or 1A was Barnhill's there in Memphis, just a buffet place, just like it. And Mama, and Clark are sitting on this side of the table. It's Granddaddy, Mimi, and Daddy on that side, and I'm eating my salad because I'm a big salad guy. Fixing to go back and get my second plate. A place like Barnhill's, they lose money on me and Clark, but we're sitting there looking at them, and I take a bite of my salad. I'm chewing up, looking at my granddad, and this giant field rat pops out of one buffet station, runs the other one, goes underneath it. And I'm just like, oh. And all three of us saw it at the same time and suddenly weren't hungry anymore. But we didn't want to dash the hopes of my granddad. So they finished eating. We're like, we're just not hungry. And so we leave Barn
You know
Hills.
what, Rusty? It didn't kill him.
It didn't.
It didn't.
And so, but I wasn't eating it. So we go get gas at a gas station on Winchester there in Memphis. And there's a Steak and Shake next door. And I'm like, Mom, I'm starving. She's like, me too. So we got a sack full of burgers and went home.
Best fries in the game. Steak and Shake.
Ooh, Steak and Shake. Arby's is pretty close. You know, we talked about Arby's curly fries last week, but Steak and Shake fries are those are pretty good. You don't make me hungry.
Yeah. Shout out to Daniel Greer. I was listening to the Grizz 901 last night after the Sixers game, and they brought up, I believe I'm right. Yeah, I think I'm right. They brought up McDonald's fries versus Checkers. I think that's right. I'm giving Daniel credit. Daniel, you're welcome. This is a good topic that I think you had.
Yeah, it was on Twitter. Somebody,
right.
I think it was DeMichael Cole had rated Checkers fries as the best, and I disagree.
Yeah, and their argument was, and Bennett Doyle was on the show with him, and he says, my argument against Checkers is nobody eats at Checkers. And so, but I agree with Daniel.
That's right.
Daniel said that McDonald's fries are the A1 number one French fry in the world if they're hot.
Right.
They get sticky. No.
A slept-on French fry, too, and they're very similar to McDonald's. They don't get a ton of credit, is Buffalo Wild Wings. B-Dubs has those shoestring fries that are like McDonald's, but a little bit thinner. Yeah, but those B-Dubs fries are a little bit thinner, and they always stay crispy. And if they come out hot, listen. So when I left your house on Sunday,
the best fry is a good JoJo.
I stopped it when I left your house on Sunday. I had a 2-hour drive back to Martin, and Shelbs and I pulled up to Dodge's there in Ripley. I left her in the truck. I went inside while I was getting gas, and I was like, I need some dinner. And I was looking, and everything in Dodge's is fried, including the soda fountain. Everything over there is fried.
Oh yeah,
everything.
Great.
But I'm like, you know what? We in this thing. When in Rome, right? I'm in Ripley, Mississippi, and we eat something fried. And so I got a spicy chicken sandwich and JoJo's, and I hadn't had JoJo's in a hot minute. Dang, son.
Done right there.
Man, and Dodge's is good. I was talking to a friend about it, and like she never heard of Dodge's, and I'm like, you're missing out. Dodge's is where it's at. Like fried chicken. There's like, for those who know, if you know, you know, there's Ben's Texaco chicken. There's Ben's Texaco chicken in Corinth, Mississippi, Dodge's chicken, and then way down here is the rest of them.
Yeah, chicken on a stick is awesome.
Yeah,
I know you're not going to agree because it's an Oxford thing, and you're a hater. But chicken on a stick is up.
Well, I mean, you get chicken on a stick at a Chinese buffet. It's still pretty good. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but it's not from a gas station called Chicken on a Stick.
Nothing's good in Oxford. But anyway, we talked about the Grizz a minute ago. We kind of highlighted some of the wins they've had going on, some things we talked about. So after this commercial break, we'll deep dive on your Memphis Grizzlies.
Not just the level of individual talent that he plays with, but it's also the level of his mind. We haven't gotten cross-court open shot this year. We haven't seen that pass a lot. Number one, you got to respect him going to the basket. There's a roller. I got to watch the roller. He has the mind to be able to say, I see all of that, but now I see this guy over here. I'm going to get him this open shot. How shifty he is to always be going forward. It's usually side to side.
Yeah.
His dribble moves are side to side, but going forward.
Right.
Which is very hard to defend. I just want to get you, as many times can I get you to do this? But for him, it's not here. It is here, which is are his moves to get down the floor. It's awkward for a defender to try to catch a cadence. You dribble. So now what I do is now when you go put that ball down, I'm going for it. But with him, it's hard for my cadence. But what's my cadence for you? I don't know what it is.
Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Who do you need to step it up? Outside of David Jones, I think David Jones is David Jones.
I don't think you need him to step it up because he's been performing.
Yeah, like he's David Jones. Like outside of him, he's fine.
I think Quinterly needs to play better.
In what way? Like, I mean, he's facilitating the ball well. I mean, I don't.
2 at 12 from the field's not cutting it.
It's not great. It's not great.
And I don't need a runner 3 from the top of the key with 3.5 seconds left.
Is Virginia the game where Jordan Brown is going to cook? Those dudes aren't looking to run the ball.
Cook what? Dude, I thought he was going to have a freaking night. He came out with that fresh cut, lined up, and then literally within the first 15 seconds missed a wide open layup, and then picked up 2 fouls right away.
I feel real lied to because I thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy.
Didn't think it did anything for you.
Well,
I think we all thought we were getting a 20 and 10 guy, and we are getting that in David Jones.
I'm not even getting 20 or 10 minutes out of the guy.
Tune in to Tigers Untapped with TJ Willis and Trey Lasley every Wednesday at 3 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back to the $2 Sports Show, where we talk about, in this segment, the literal only thing we agree on. That's the Memphis Grizzlies. As Drew switches us around on the screen, because for whatever reason during that commercial break, it said device not connected. And I was like, maybe we're going solo. I thought they already had the baby. But since the last time we recorded, Drew, I think your mic's still muted. Since the last time we recorded, the Memphis Grizzlies are now 2-2. We got blown out by the hapless Portland Trailblazers. I say hapless, they're better than us because then they turn around and beat us on Saturday night. But your boy wrote 2 game previews this week, and we won both of them. Mark, Kenny, maybe I should write more from now on. I predicted the first winning at the Nets. I did say that we would lose last night, but I was happily wrong to watch us beat the 76ers. So, Uncle Buck, we're going streaking, the good kind, with our clothes on, as we're now 2-0.
Is there a bad kind?
No. Listen, as somebody who has streaked across the Mississippi State campus, more to come in that in the Patreon or in the Discord if you want to know that story. There is no bad streaking.
Yeah, I mean the Grizzlies are on a roll. And it's the Portland game, for starters, is just disgusting. It's just absolutely abysmal. To lose by 30 on the day that my son is born is, for any normal, rational fan of the Memphis Grizzlies, they would have probably just hung it up. Well, I'm not rational.
To be honest, I did. My father, as we know, is battling dementia and has some memory issues. And I told him at halftime, like, you're not going to remember this game, and I'm grateful for that because I will remember this game. Let's watch a movie instead. So we watched a movie.
Yeah, it was just disgusting to lose by 30 against a Portland team that had won 15 games coming into that one. Just disgusting. Just no way around it. Everybody was flat. I'm trying to remember. I was obviously not watching much of that game. I didn't watch any of it, actually, because I was in a hospital room with a TV that was too small and no Bally Sports. But yeah, there was no Jaren that night, but that shouldn't matter because the Portland Trailblazers started. If I don't know their first name, I won't have to give their initials because that's how ESPN listed. Some guy named T. Kamara.
Yeah.
K. Murray. I guess that's Keegan's little brother.
Is it Kyler?
I'll click on it. Chris.
There it is.
Chris Murray. Chris with a K.
It's not Kyler Murray not to be confused with the Arizona Cardinals quarterback.
Jeremy Grant.
Who we wanted to be a Grizz for a while, but kind of glad he's not.
D. Reath, Reath, and Anthony Simons. Just nobody, just absolutely nobody. It was disgusting. It was,
and not only that, they scored 17 in the first quarter. Like they scored 17 points in a professional basketball game in a quarter. They made up for it in the third when they dropped 40 on us because it's either the second or third where we're going to implode. They dropped 40 in the third, so they more than made up for it.
Right, and then the only thing more insulting than a 30-point loss is making everybody watch an overtime game the next night against the same team.
Only
and
to lose again.
Same starting lineup for Portland. Same starting lineup for the Grizzlies. Still no Jaren Jackson Jr. Just disgusting. I don't want to talk about it anymore.
All I'll say, you know what's bad is it was an overtime game and the final was 107-100. That's how bad it is. In the NBA, you get an overtime game, it's like 125, 122, or 127, 120. No, it's 107-100. That's how bad it was.
The Grizzlies were outscored in overtime 12-5.
Yeah, in the final, like in the fourth quarter in overtime, we got outscored like 40 something to like 2. or 26. Like it was awful. It was we scored 5
So-
points. We had 22. It was 46-22 was
Right.
we got outscored in the fourth and overtime. That's ugly.
The Grizzlies got outscored by 17 in the fourth quarter just for Portland to take it to overtime.
Yeah.
Just disgusting.
They also only scored 14 in the third. So
Right.
yeah, moving right along to some more fun
just
basketball
next.
where we actually got in the win column.
Right. Brooklyn is a disgrace. I said this last time. We've played Brooklyn like 2 weeks in a row.
I feel like we've played them a dozen
Or
times this
3
year.
weeks in a row. I'm gonna look it up here. So we played them obviously on Monday, and then we played them on
the 26th
the
of February.
26th
Yeah.
of February.
And then we played them
And,
like just before that.
Yeah. So, anyways,
I had to do my
that
whole
team
article. Yeah.
that team should be better. I mean, we talked about this before. I don't want to beat a dead horse, and I certainly don't want to be labeled a Brooklyn Nets, insider or somebody who knows
Apologist.
Brooklyn. All I do is just look at the lineup here. They started Dorian Finney-Smith, Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, Nick Claxton, and Dennis Schroeder. Those guys, that's 4 good, solid NBA players, and Mikal Bridges, who's really, really good.
Right.
And they scored 102 points
Against the
home
Memphis Grizzlies.
against the Memphis Grizzlies, who started Santi Aldama, Trey Jemison, John Conchar, Luke Kennard, and Vince Williams Jr.
Anytime you get a jitty lineup, man, it's not a good night for Memphis. But we found a way, thanks in large part to, as Luke and I talked about this past week, Luke Kennard going friggin' nuclear, dropping 25, shooting 66% from beyond the arc. And he ran point guard. He had 7 assists. It's a season high 7 assists. Luke and I talked about this past week, so I don't want to beat it too much, but if you missed that episode of the Daily Grind, check out the Daily Grind every Tuesday or every day at 1 o'clock. I'm on there on Tuesdays. Uncle Buck's going to be on
there
it
tomorrow, Rusty.
Uncle Buck will be on it tomorrow, or today. You were on it earlier today. That's the recording of this show.
As you're listening to this, go back and watch it.
Yeah, that's it. Go check it out. But we talked about this. Luke running point actually looks pretty good. He's had 2 straight. He had 5 assists in that last Portland game. He had 7 against Brooklyn. He had a decent night last night. Not quite as many assists Wednesday night in the win over the 76ers. But Luke running point is not a bad look if it can continue and help us out. He finished with just 2 assists against the 76ers. So it didn't go super well last night or Wednesday night. I keep saying last night. But Luke Kennard running point has been a fun thing to watch, and it's made the Grizzlies a little bit better in the absence of Marcus Smart, John Morant, Scottie Pippen Jr., Jacob Gillard, who's moved on. Like the list goes on and on, right? We're running a point guard by committee. If it happens to be Luke, Luke's looked pretty good. Yeah. He's now, is he a Net? Is that who signed in? Brooklyn? Yeah, Brooklyn signed him, I'm pretty sure.
Who's this?
Gilly. He got signed by Brooklyn, I think.
You may be right about that.
I might be. I'm looking it up right now because a good podcast looks that up. And
yeah, I'll be honest with you. My knowledge on Jacob Gilliard has left the Grizzlies.
Yep,
and obviously that's too much time I spent.
Yeah, this is a good podcast because we looked it up and we found it. He is in Brooklyn. Anyway, we're moving right along. Grizzlies got 2 quality wins this week. The schedule does not get any easier. We got Atlanta on Friday night at home. That should be a win. I mean, Atlanta's not great. They're a 2.5-point favorite, but the Grizz should win tonight as a recording of this show. And the schedule's not an easier listen. We're in the final. I mean, theoretically on paper, sure, we should win this game. Theoretically, game, absolutely. It's a home game. It
is no Trae Young.
It doesn't matter. I'm not a Trae Young fan anyway.
No, I know, but he does score points.
I mean, he does, but then nobody else does.
I'm not defending Atlanta, and I'm not defending Trae Young, but I can promise you Trae Young's better than who his replacement is.
I mean, fair. Fair. The great, he looks like the great Kylie, but a small version of him. And I'm just not Trae Young fan.
Like a Kyler Murray version of the great Kylie.
Listen, man, I hope that, and then we got the Thunder, Wizards, Hornets, Thunder again. And the Thunder, that's a team. We were talking about this on the Daily Grind on Tuesday. Just like quickly becoming the next Clippers for me because I'm just so sick of them being the media darlings. Everybody loves the Thunder doing the same crap we were doing for the last 2 years and getting raked over the coals about being thugs and partying too much and, saying that we don't take basketball serious, all this kind of stuff. The Thunder are doing the same crap and getting credit for it. And it drives me up a friggin' wall, man. Like, the Thunder are no different than what we did, and we did it better. People are just jealous that it's not a parade inside their city and that we are actually winning basketball games when we're healthy, and more to come on that next year when we do finally get freaking healthy.
Yeah, I mean, Oklahoma City's doing what the Grizzlies did 2 years ago, and it's a party. They're young, they're cute, they're flashy. They've got a bunch of young pieces that are extremely, extremely fun to watch with one of the Jalen Williamses. Chet's been awesome. SGA may win MVP. Then you got Giddey, who's just a walking storyline.
Goodness. Yeah, hide your kids. Not even hide
so,
your wives, just hide your kids.
But they are cute. They're the darling of the NBA. And this is SGA
said he won't rest until he's the best in the West, and they hyped him up for it instead of raking him over the coals like they did Ja.
Yeah, well, that's a little bit different of a statement than Ja made, saying we're fine in the West, as if he said he won't rest until they're the best in the West, and that is a noble statement that most superstar players would agree with. That's their driving factor. It's not saying that it's all sewn up. Just go home. We're gonna be in the finals. There's a big difference. But
I appreciate the gusto in it, I guess.
Yeah, but I do too. I love the wrestling aspect of it. The guaranteeing of wins and be ballsy, be brave. Yeah. Who cares? You only got one life to live.
That's it.
But they are what the Grizzlies were. But media does this. Fans do this. Fans of anything, celebrities, whatever. Everybody loves once you get up. They love the climb up. Then when you get to the top, they want to tear you down. And the Grizzlies were torn down, mostly by self-inflicted wounds. No pun intended.
That's a little close to home, Drew.
They shot themselves in the foot.
Also, no pun intended. That's a little close to home. We got a superstar suspended for guns, and we're in the walking.
I'm aware of what I just said, Rusty. I'm very aware. Said it for a reason. Yeah. So next year, Oklahoma City will probably have detractors, and everybody will be want to talk bad about them and don't like their bravado and their dancing and their swag, just like they did with the Grizzlies. And the Grizzlies, if they make a comeback, they'll be celebrated. They'll be, Ja may get comeback player of the year. I mean, there will be a storyline that goes both ways, that we're all kind of moving at different trajectories, and it's always either going up or coming down.
Yeah.
It's nothing. There's no consistent love or hatred for any one person, franchise, team, nothing.
Well, real quick, speaking of next year, I want to go on a quick rant real quick because I know Zach Kleiman, big fan of the show, obviously listening on a Friday afternoon. He's got nothing better to do. Lamar Stevens is turning into a role player for the Memphis Grizzlies. I've said it over and over again. I'm championing this dude. He's going to have to get creative for him to be a Grizzly next year. But Lamar Stevens has really settled into a great role for the Grizz. He's averaging 11.7 points per game, 5 rebounds per game. Shout out Sean Coleman at StatsSAC on Twitter. If you're on the app, on the X, Twitter, Bird app, whatever you want to call it, the Grizz opponent scores 16.1 points less in the half court when he's off court. Opponents have a lower 10% lower field goal percentage when he is on the court. It's the best on the team. Lamar Stevens has carved out a role. Is he going to be like he is this year, like a 15-20 minute guy a 15-20 minute a night guy? Absolutely not. But could he be that 12th or 14th player off the bench, like deep in that rotation? Absolutely. He could give us some quality minutes and give us some good looks. The guy's just a hustler. He had a couple great putback dunks this week, not to be overshadowed by Gigi's monstrous dunk last night. I'm sure you saw that. But he's shooting 52% on the year. He's guarding multiple positions. He's played 3, 4, and 5 pretty well for a young player and an undersized 5. But Lamar Stevens is earning an NBA contract somewhere. I hope it's in Memphis. He's going to be a free agent in the offseason. There's a high likelihood he's not back because we're fat next year. We got a lot of contracts we're going to have to cover. Luke's, we got to figure out what we're going to do with Luke.
Kenny Lofton coming back?
Some guys. No. My boy may not even be back in the NBA.
You said the Grizzlies were fat next year.
Why not then? Yeah. But we're going to be fat from a contract standpoint. Money's going up. We got to sign Luke. We've obviously got to get a big. There's bigger pieces out there, but Lamar just seems like a culture guy that hustles, that plays hard, and I'd love to see him back in Memphis next year.
I would too, but you've got you can't let what this season is and what you see from people
Sure.
explode your expectations of what their role is going to be next year. And you got to think next year you're going into, and forgive me if I'm forgetting somebody, feel free to interject, but you're going into next year with Ja, Dez, Marcus Smart, Jaren Jackson Jr., Brandon Clark, Vince Williams, Gigi Jackson, Santi Aldama. That's 9 right there.
Mm-hmm. You're going to get a big. You're going to acquire a big.
I hope you're going to get a big, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not include Kennard, which we all hope that they re-sign Kennard.
Yeah.
So, yes, Lamar Stevens has been great, but don't think for a second like that because he's doing really well in this situation. And I do think it translates, but I do not think that the minutes will continue into next season if we get.
And I said that.
So
I said that they're not. But
still, he is a key contributor to this team, but he will not be.
But let me ask you this. Sure. So you've named there's 10 players. You carry 15 on a roster, right? You can have 15 that are usually that contribute. So you've named 10 players. Would you rather have Lamar Stevens or Jake LaRavia? I think that's kind of obvious. LaRavia is not. He's had 2 good games. Lamar Stevens has a bigger sample size. LaRavia's had 2 good games.
I told you this was going to happen.
You are drunk.
Taylor Jenkins.
You are drunk.
The development
Jake
team
LaRavia
has been hiding Jake LaRavia.
Oh, Lord. Here we go. Jake LaRavia has no business on an NBA roster, especially not my NBA roster.
He had 17 points and 13 rebounds. This team can't rebound. Jake LaRavia.
Lord, man, you give somebody, Shelby, you give somebody a platform and they take it and run. Like, this is wild that I have a grown man here in the year of our Lord 2024 defending Jake LaRavia. Man, that guy is of They picked Sloth for a reason in his ad.
That's
man,
dirty.
come on.
They did him dirty. Listen,
he's awful.
Okay. You know, I say all this tongue in cheek to get a rise out of you. I obviously don't think that Jake LaRavia should be kept over Lamar Stevens. However, no, I'm not defending myself here. I'm showing what a framework, what the Grizzlies have done in the past, and that is they always stick with these guys. They always stick with them. When they did cut bait with Kenny Lofton and with Kennedy Chandler, and so that was the right move. They have not cut bait with him yet, and they made this offseason. Who knows?
They will.
Kenny Lofton and Kennedy Chandler did not make it through. Kenny Lofton didn't make it through 2 seasons, and Kennedy Chandler didn't make it through 1. Mm-hmm. And so they are willing to cut bait with these guys. Now, there is more draft equity with Jake LaRavia, but I think, and you listen to what the players say about him, that we thought the same thing about Santi Aldama. His rookie year, he was no good. He was thin. He wasn't physical. And then the players all said, like, listen, going into the season, Santi Aldama has got it. He's crafty. You know, he can make shots. He is an NBA player. They said the same thing about LaRavia. And I'm not saying they're right, but I'm saying they've been right before. And I'm just saying I'm not ready yet to stand on a table one way or the other and say cut him or extend him. I'm saying the book is still out.
Cut him. Zaire's gone. Jitty's gone. Let's clear some of these cats out. Let's quit letting these guys drag us down. Jitty's great for a highlight block here and there, and that's it. Zaire, I'll give credit where credit's due. Zaire's also had a good stretch. He's averaging 14 points a game, which for Zaire is very good. Yeah. Drew, as our network colleague Anthony Sane would say, these are boneless wings, man. None of these dudes belong on an NBA roster, much less ours. Sure, let somebody else take a flyer and develop Zaire, or let Jake LaRavia. If Jake LaRavia goes to San Antonio and becomes an all-NBA player, then good on him. But like, it's not going to happen. He'll go to he'll be a trade fodder. Zaire will too. There's a reason we haven't been able to move and trade these cats, anytime. Probably because other people watch them and they see us stuck with them. They don't want them. But like, just miss me with thinking that Jake LaRavia and Zaire are going to be, and Lamar is not going to be an all NBA player or a 6th man of the year by any stretch of the imagination. But what I've seen from him on the court is a lot more that we can build from than what I've seen in LaRavia and Zaire. We need to cut some of these dudes out, give a guy like Lamar Stevens a shot, see what happens.
Yeah, and in its essence, I think I agree with you. I think that what I think will end up happening is what I hope happens anyways. And again, we're talking about the 12th through 15th person on the bench here. And so I'm not going to argue with it. I'm not going to pound the table here on it. However, you've seen Zaire be good. You've seen LaRavia have 2 good games. And so I just don't think that I'll put it this way. I think that Zach Kleiman has a higher perception of both of those guys than you do.
Fair. And that's fine. I think that's Go ahead.
And
that's fine.
Yeah. But you say on this podcast 1,000 times, you said it on the Daily Grind, in Kleiman we trust. And that's where I'm at with this. I think that Zaire especially, I wouldn't get rid of him just to get rid of him for nothing. I think that there is a little meat on that bone, to use your boneless wing reference. I think that Zaire's problem is that he's only good with Ja, and you can't sub in and sub out Ja and Zaire at the same time every game. Like it just limits you so good if he can't be good without Ja. And LaRavia just,
he's
I
trash.
think his biggest problem so far with Grizzlies
is a lack of talent.
Is that he cannot stay healthy. I mean, he has literally had no chance to develop in a game. And that's what the Grizzlies have done so far with everybody, is they give you some rope to hang yourself with. And more times than not, they answer the bell to varying degrees.
Sure. I'll say this
too.
He
has not had the rope to hang himself. He's hung himself just by standing on the sideline in street clothes.
And then what little bit we've seen outside of the last 2 games has been awful. And then with Zaire, everybody keeps talking about he's just lacking confidence. Maybe at some point he's not going to get confident. Maybe that's what he is. He's just a nervy player that's not going to score.
Yeah. If it's a confidence thing, it can go one of 2 ways. You either gain confidence and you're good, and there's every organization has sports psychologists and stuff that can get through to you to get confidence. And if the confidence can be fixed and he turns into rookie year Zaire, then he's a guy that I want on my team. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Sure.
However, if it is confidence and that is not going to be helped, then he is useless to us, because you can't count on him game in and game out. I think the truth is not written in stone yet. We don't know, but to bring back the larger view of this is that in this offseason, all these people that we're talking about right now will be secondary or third conversations in priority behind landing a superstar. Every one of these people, Lamar Stevens, Luke Kennard, Zaire Williams, Brandon Clark, we can go up into the actual rotation that we're locking in for next year. All of these guys, except for Ja, Jaren, Desmond, and maybe Vince and Gigi, maybe, they're all on the block for a superstar, for an all-star.
I mean, you're right.
So this is all going to fix itself, and the only way I will be upset going into October of 2025 or 2024 in the new season coming up, the only way I will be upset is if they just stand pat.
Yeah,
I think that there is a way to do it. I think this team, as it is, fully healthy, contends in the West.
Sure.
But we're kind of at a poop or get off the pot situation here, and let's go for it.
Yeah, we're at that point where we've kind of maxed out what this group could do. We could be the number 2 seed. We could be a 1 seed in the West, but in order to compete for an NBA title, we're missing a piece or 2. But listen, guys, as you see below, join the Discord. Hop in there with us. $5 a month to be an insider. You get access to Uncle Buck and myself, all the other great content creators and podcasts and shows on this network. Give it a subscription. And if you can't do that, if $5 a month is too much for you, I understand. You can always click subscribe and turn your notifications on YouTube here at Bluff City Media's YouTube page so you can get all these great shows. We're going to wrap this segment up.
Let me plug one thing real quick. Since we're talking about Discord, we're talking about joining Bluff City Media as an insider. All those things are great. Rusty, we haven't talked about this. I think it's just kind of understood. But March Madness is coming up. We are like less than 2 weeks away from the brackets coming out and being released,
which we're going to talk about in our next segment a little bit.
Okay, well, I'll just plug it here with everything else. Every year we do a $2 sports show bracket league on the ESPN platform, ESPN Tournament Challenge. This year will be the same. We'll post that on all of our social media stuff. We'll reach out to our closest friends. We'll try to get as many people as we can into the $2 sports show bracket challenge. Last year we offered a t-shirt to whoever won. The only hang up was somebody won. And they never identified themselves. They went under an alias. We have no idea who you are. Yeah. To this day, if you can prove you won, we'll send you a shirt.
Yeah. But so Uncle Buck and I had shirts made for each other.
yeah. So Buckets only came up with shirts for us for Christmas. And so if you would like to identify yourself, then please come forward. We're men of our word. But we'll do it again this year. We'll come up with a prize, probably a t-shirt, something we can come up with. Maybe a date with Rusty for the winner. And
I don't know about that. I think we're good there.
That's what we're going to do this year. Stay tuned. Keep in touch with our social channels. You can still find us in the Discord. Come in there and chat with us. So we're going to hit the second break right here, and we're going to wrap this up with some Ole Miss, Mississippi State assorted topics.
I'm just big on being able to vocalize what someone's role is. I always thought my best coaches were the people that let me know exactly what you expect from me. Now I might not like it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if you come to me man to man and say, this is how we think we're gonna play you, bang, bang, bang. And hopefully everybody understands. I'm not saying that this has not been done with this team. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying from my experience, we all have egos when we get to this game. Right. All of us. To the last person on the bench, you got an ego. But all of us can't be the man. Yeah. You got to be able to say, okay, he's the man, but what do I do and what can I do to help us be good? And if it's vocalized to you, then you know exactly and if I'm out there doing it, and now I'm not getting the result from you. Now we got to sit down and have another conversation. Mm-hmm. But as long as it is told to you, this is what we expect from you, this is how we want you to play, then I feel like, again, keeping this logo. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Tune in to the Anthony Sane Show Wednesdays and Fridays at 12 p.m. weekly on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel. All right, Christian.
Yes.
You are Penny Hardaway.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Today, you're going to play act, okay? Gabe, because you're a Jordan Brown apologist, you're going to be Jordan Brown.
I'm a Jordan Brown apologist. Okay.
Okay.
I'll take that.
Y'all are sitting across the room from each other.
I said, don't tweet him hate. And he's like, you're an apologist. Like, good God. But either way, continue. We're in a room together.
Why did things break down?
Jordan, we brought you in this year to be the centerpiece of our offense. You came in out of shape. Let's call it what it is. Call a spade a spade. We play fast. Told you this when we were recruiting you. We play fast. One of the fastest paces in the country. You have to be able to get up and down the floor. You have failed at that.
Oh, well, I'm leaving. So
cool. Tune in to On the Bluff with Christian Fowler and Gabe Kuhn every Tuesday at 12 p.m. on the Bluff City Media YouTube channel.
Welcome back, everybody, to the third and final segment where we talk about things that matter to us, because this is our show. We can do that. College baseball, college basketball. One of them is winding down. Drew, as of a week from Sunday, we'll officially have brackets for our bracket challenge, as my co-host mentioned a minute ago. And college baseball is ramping up. It's actually fun to talk about college baseball now. Both of our teams have found a little bit of success. Mississippi State is currently riding a 6-game winning streak, beating little brother this past week in the midweek Southern Miss in Pearl. Uncle Buck, baseball is starting to ramp up, man, and there's a lot of fun stuff going on. I think I sent you a tweet yesterday where there were two, I believe they were Division III schools that were tied at 20 runs apiece, 2-0. If you don't know much about baseball, that's a lot in the seventh inning. I think the final score ended up being like 25-22, just a wild baseball game. Again, I'm already rambling, so I'll kind of take for a minute. Mississippi State starting to play better. Chris Lemonis' job is on the line. You can't be losing 2 games in the midweek to Austin Peay and expect to keep your job at Mississippi State, a flagship college baseball program. And so he's turned it around a little bit since those 2 losses. We've won 6 in a row. We're pitching a whole lot better. Drew, for the last 2 seasons, we led the entire nation in walks surrendered. And so far this year, we are only behind Arkansas and Wake Forest in strikeouts. Justin Parker has done an incredible job in turning it around. But then our bats went quiet. But over the last 2 weeks, they have really ramped up. We've won 6 baseball games in a row. Dakota Jordan is absolutely mashing baseballs. If any of my friends in Mississippi are listening to this, I'm putting out an APB. We are looking for Hunter Hines. He wears number 44. He bats from the left side of the plate. He hits home runs usually, but my man hadn't showed up this spring so far. Last year, he was one of the SEC leaders in home runs. So far this year, it's been a quiet start for our big slugger over at first base, but I said it last year, Drew. We didn't do it this year as much, but I said it last year. One of my players to watch last year for Mississippi State was Bryce Chance, and he stepped up in a major way last year and has been killing it this year. I love watching him play. I love watching Twitter too, because anytime you tweet about Bryce Chance, his mama goes on there and retweets it. She just looks up his name. I'll put out a tweet about Bryce Chance playing really good baseball. Mama Chance retweets it. So Mama Chance, this is for you. Big shout out. But State's playing good baseball. We're getting some good relief. We're not imploding on ourselves and walking people left and right. Got Evansville this weekend. Again, our schedule's not tough so far. There's a lot of baseball still ahead of us. Our tougher games are coming up. But anytime you start collecting wins, that's a good thing. Our first big challenge comes my birthday weekend, March 15th, 16th, and 17th. They play LSU in Starkville. They come to town. Defending national champs come to town. That's when we'll really know what we've got. We got to have some momentum going into that, because you can't expect LSU to walk in and you be flat and lose that base, and you'll get ran out of your own stadium. So it's nice to start getting some momentum wins heading into that. Good turnaround for Mississippi State. Got to continue it this weekend against Evansville.
Yeah, so Mississippi State has done a really good job of getting back on track against teams that are absolutely horrible, and Southern Miss. Mount St. Mary's, I believe Mount St. Mary's was 1-7 going into the Thursday or the Friday game against Mississippi State in Starkville.
Thursday and then 2 on Saturday.
Yeah. Okay. So whatever game I watched, the thing said 1-7. So, trash, but you beat them, and you didn't beat them handedly. It was 12-2, 7-2, 6-0.
You give up 4 runs across 3 games. I mean, it's not bad.
I agree. That it's not bad at all.
Beggars can't be choosers.
Again, like I said on this show last week, the week before, several other times, when you play bad teams, you want to beat the snot out of them. You're not wrong. So take the wins. I'm not telling you not to enjoy the wins. Enjoy the wins. But the win last night, was it Tuesday night?
It was Tuesday night.
Tuesday night against Southern Miss was a big win. That's a win against the Southern Miss team that is perennially in the host situation.
Yep.
Yeah, and a lot of times a host in the NCAA tournament. Yeah, Ole Miss played them in the Super Regionals in Hattiesburg in 2022. We won't talk about how Ole Miss beat them 15-0 over 2 games, shut them out on their home field to go to the College World Series and win it. We're not going to talk about that at all.
Yeah. We're also not going to, real quick sidebar, we're also not going to talk about Billy Butler getting butt hurt when he said, I came to Southern Miss to play in big games.
I'm going to talk about that. So, Billy Butler, Bill Buttlicker.
Buttlicker. Our prices have never been lower.
William N. Buttlicker.
We built this country.
So, Billy Buttlicker for Southern Miss did take exception to Mississippi State celebrating after they beat them. Okay, am I remembering this correctly?
Absolutely. This was their world. This was their World Series. Is his exact phrase.
And he was mad.
Big time.
He was big mad that Mississippi State celebrated after beating Southern Miss. My question to Mr. Billy Buttlicker is why is that not a compliment? Why is this not a good thing? Like it's Mississippi State did not celebrate a series sweep against Mount St. Mary's. They did not celebrate a win over Jackson State, but they did celebrate a neutral site win over Southern Miss, and you're mad about it.
Yeah,
we
it's
didn't. One thing to say, he tried to play like the Big Brother card, which, hey,
wild.
you do you. Southern Miss is better than both of us in the last 2 years.
Sure,
in really recent history.
But how many national championships they got?
I'm with you.
The Mustard Buzzers, they got no room to talk.
I just said almost wax them in their own super regional.
Yeah.
So, but if you want to make that your stance or whatever, then fine. Say, oh, they're so excited to beat us. That says that we're better as a program than them right now. And take that and puff your chest out a little bit and say, yeah, we're being recognized. To be mad that somebody celebrates a win over you is kind of bass backwards to me.
And the couple things I wanted to say about it was we came out of the dugout. We celebrated by the dugout by high-fiving and cheering each other on. We didn't dogpile on the mound like we did when, we won a national championship. Mustard Buzzard fans who have not won one. Both of our universities represented here have a national championship in the last 3 years. Also, State is 86-44 against Southern Miss all the time. Like, we don't care about your pedestrian poverty franchise program in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. You want to, this is your 15 minutes of fame. We don't care about y'all. We have doubled you up in wins just about. Miss me with that. Like, you can get butthurt all you want. If you don't want to get beat, if you don't want people to celebrate, don't get beat, right? You don't want me to dance after I score a touchdown? Don't let me score. Like,
what you're saying is the same thing Mississippi State fans say to Ole Miss every time they show like the record over the last 85 years. It's like 65-40 Ole Miss, but that's not important. We beat you today. That's
I didn't
exactly
say that.
What you just said. Yeah,
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, like, if you want to act like Big Brother, be Big Brother. You ain't Big Brother. You got your 15 minutes of fame, William Butlicker. It's a good thing your family built this country, because otherwise you look like a fool.
And to only make things worse for Southern Miss, in the top of the first inning, they scored 4 runs, and then they scored a combined 0 runs over the next 8 and got beat 5-4. So, I mean, it's kind of on you,
Yeah, you had it. You
and you're right.
You grasped defeat from the jaws of victory by giving up 5 runs.
And salt is a thing. Saltiness is a thing, and he is bad salty because Mississippi State is down, and what Southern Miss does. Ole Miss and Mississippi State argue over little brother and big brother all the time. I think it's really stupid. But if Southern Miss wants to get in on that, good luck. Yeah. Because like you said, they haven't won nothing. They're really cute in Conference USA. They have a really solid team. They've beaten Ole Miss several times in Jackson. They've beaten Mississippi State several times in Jackson. But it's just unimportant, and you made it a bigger deal than it was.
100%.
You lost a midweek game in March to a team that won a national championship 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Who most recently did not make the SEC tournament 2 years in a row.
But go ahead and take that L. So,
a quick question for obviously me and you and maybe one other listener. I don't know if you heard that the Mississippi Braves are moving. Does that relinquish the Governor's Cup for Ole Miss and Mississippi State? Are they still going to like upkeep that stadium?
What upkeep are they doing? I mean, they ain't doing upkeep anyway.
I mean, they're doing enough upkeep. The problem with playing is like the minor league season hasn't started yet, so there isn't much upkeep. Yeah, and the video stream is terrible.
The video stream is somebody sitting in the press box with their iPhone like this, so we can watch the game.
It's awful.
It's awful.
But like, is that going to die? Because I'm totally cool with Ole Miss and Mississippi State alternating that midweek game at the other team's place that doesn't host the weekend series.
I'm here for it.
And I don't care if Ole Miss ever plays Southern Miss again. It's kind of like playing Memphis. You win. If you win, it means nothing. If you lose, it means everything.
Yeah, I agree 100%. We can relegate Southern Miss back to where they belong. I agree. Let's make that thing an alternating midweek, and that's fine.
Yeah, they're just annoying.
They are. They're mouthy for no reason.
It's like a it's like a Superman villain that he beats in the first 10 minutes before you see the real villain. You know,
they've had Ray Guy, a punter. They're most known for a punter, like in sports.
And Creighton Nelms.
And Creighton Nelms. Shout out. Kasu's great, Creighton Nelms. I don't care about your poverty.
And Brett Favre. Let's not forget Brett Favre, okay?
I didn't forget about Brett Favre. But we can't really talk about Brett Favre on here because he's robbing Mississippi Medicaid. So Brett Favre is faux pas anyway. So we're just sticking with Ray Guy and Creighton Nelms.
So, Ole Miss. So Ole Miss is coming off of they won their midweek game last week. They played Iowa, which was preseason ranked. It's one of 3 teams in the Big Ten that is projected preseason to make the tournament, make the postseason for college baseball. They've had a really weird start to the year. It kind of reminds me of Mississippi State a little bit last year. And I don't know if you've done any looking at Iowa. Obviously, I have for selfish reasons.
No.
They have a bona fide ace on Friday nights. They have a pretty good lineup defensively. They're pretty good defensively. But they have one glaring weakness. And I mean, it is an opening the size of a Mack truck, and it's their bullpen. It is absolutely atrocious. So, their starting pitcher, he went 5 innings, 6 innings. Anyways, he went 5 innings the week before and ended up getting a no decision because the bullpen blew it. I was up 7-2 Friday night in Oxford in the 8th inning, and their bullpen issued 1 hit, 5 walks, and a couple hit by pitches. Ole Miss pushed across 5 runs to tie it with only 1 hit in the bottom of the 8th inning, only for Ole Miss's bullpen to match Iowa's and give up a 6 spot in the top of the 9th and lose by 6. Very frustrating game. I'm watching that with my newborn son sitting right beside me, just, 6 hours old. And this is his first experience. Very frustrating. But then Ole Miss did go and win 2 out of 3. They backdoored the series, winning Saturday and Sunday. And none of the games were really remotely competitive. I mean, they weren't blowouts by any means, but it's not like you were really concerned. Ole Miss is really just figuring stuff out. It was a really good win against a quality team, a quality non-SEC team, which they've played a good bit of in the last few years in the quote-unquote preseason, the non-conference play. And, you've kind of getting a feel for kind of where they're going. They're really starting to hit the ball well right now. They played Memphis. Our guys, we told you guys to hang tight with Memphis this year. Just keep up with them. Turns out they're not very good. Ole Miss beat them in Oxford on Wednesday night. It was rain delayed from Tuesday. Played Wednesday night. Ole Miss won 7-3-ish, 7-4. Just fine. Just a nondescript baseball game you won't remember in June. But you got the win, which is necessary. Ole Miss plays nobody this weekend. It's a really dull weekend for both Mississippi schools here. I can't even remember who they play. I'd have to look it up. I mean, I'm telling you, it's a nobody school.
Yeah.
And so, but like you said with Mississippi State, they play Morehead State. So, like you said with Mississippi State, you're encouraged by kind of how they're progressing, how they look on the field. And winning 2 out of 3 against Iowa is a win. Sure, you'd like to sweep them, but they're a Big Ten team that preseason was projected to
make a run,
to make the tournament. And it's still early enough to where they're not like, you haven't found out if they're actually trash, just everybody was wrong. Yeah. So they're still kind of got a little bit of that luster left on them.
Sure.
And so Ole Miss beats them, loses 7-13, wins 12-5 and 8-3 on the Saturday, Sunday games. You've got Morehead State, and then so you got one more non-SEC
non-conference
weekend, and then Ole Miss opens up in Oxford against South Carolina a week from Friday. So a week from today when you're listening to this. So I mean, everything's in front of you. If you're an Ole Miss fan, it's not the start you wanted to get off to, but when you bring in so many transfers, you bring in so many new guys you haven't heard of, there's a lot of kinks. They're throwing a new pitcher out there on Saturday of this week, a guy that I have not heard of. So we'll see. We'll see.
State is famous for
our-
throwing out TBD, and so I can relate.
Yeah. It's probably a Johnny Holstaff kind of game. But our Friday night starter has already been relegated. Our opening night starter has already been relegated. So it's not a great sign. But in Ole Miss's greatest season in history, their two aces when they got to Omaha and the season was over were two guys that did not start a game until, a quarter of the way into the season, halfway through the season. So we'll see. The bats are starting to come around though, which is encouraging.
So a lot of college baseball heating up. Uncle Buck, we've got college basketball is winding down. I think we'll table a lot of that for next week as we prep because we'll have the SEC tournament going next week. We'll prep for Selection Sunday, which is next Sunday, which is always a great watch. I love Selection Sunday, watching them pick the teams and see who gets in. And then we get to start our bracket challenge. It'll start the next week. And so it's always fun to watch that and see these little small teams and who's going to be, what was it, UMBC that had the big run,
who was the 16 that won last year? I'm just blanking. Everybody remembers UMBC.
Was it Princeton this year? You look that up, like you've got like Sister Jean, you've got all these great storylines that are coming up that just caught, like March Madness is different. And so stick around. We'll have some college basketball content next week. We'll be light on college baseball for the final time for the rest of our spring shows, but college basketball will be kind of a highlight next week as we key everybody up for Selection Sunday leading to the picks.
Fairleigh Dickinson last year.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I'm not gonna put us on the spot, but one of our favorite episodes we did last year was Uncle Buck and I did an entire show where we picked who would win in a fight based on the mascots and came up with the most epic showdown: the Raging Cajuns versus the Hurricanes. And
which is so fitting.
It's so fitting, and it was like we realized at the same time, like, what has happened here?
Yeah, we have just relived Hurricane Katrina. We know who wins.
That's right. That's right.
And Hurricane Katrina's not here anymore, but there are a ton of Cajuns.
A ton of Raging Cajuns still. So there's some great content coming y'all's way.
Yeah, let me I will tell you one thing not to expect when you get to filling out your brackets, and that is to see Ole Miss there. Just a quick stat. I did this math right when we got started tonight, and so I feel like I have to say it. So
please do.
On January 27th, Ole Miss was 18-3. Mm-hmm. Since then, they have went 1-8 in their last 9. They have not won a game since January 27th.
Woof.
Yeah, it is really bad.
Woof. Woof.
So we'll see what
State's
happens
gonna be
there.
Though. You'll see Mississippi State in your bracket.
Yeah. So right now, Joe Lenardi has Mississippi State versus Texas in the 8-9 matchup.
Winner plays Houston
into Houston. So, Rusty, do you have anything else you want to hit before we wrap up tonight's podcast?
That's all I got, man. I'm gonna go take.
I got one more thing.
Uh-oh.
So yesterday, On3 reported. My friend Zach Berry reported of On3 that former Mississippi State head football coach Zach Arnett has joined the Ole Miss coaching staff as a defensive analyst. And I 100% believe that this was 50% Zach Arnett, 25%. This is Zach Arnett being a really solid defensive coach. We would both agree on that.
Sure.
75% pure pettiness. And I'm here for it. And my question for you, Rusty, is how, as a Mississippi State fan, does it make you feel that you are paying an Ole Miss analyst millions of dollars in buyout money?
It's not millions. That's the nice thing. It's a cheap buyout.
It is reported that he is not taking a salary at all at Ole Miss so that he could continue getting his Mississippi State. His, $3 million a year or something like that buyout? 3.5?
It is. For like 2 seasons. Like, it is what it is. Y'all can have him. Go ahead on. I'll take Jeff Levy and let's go on with some football games.
It's just, what? And I'm not going to dive into it too far, but it just goes to show the state of the programs in which Mississippi State hires a former Ole Miss assistant as a head coach, and Ole Miss hires a former Mississippi State assistant as an analyst. We're just two ships crossing in the stream right here.
You know what, Drew? You get what you pay for with the $2 Sports Podcast. I'm stealing your line and closing this bad boy up. Thanks for being here. If you made it to an hour and 16 minutes, I'm surprised Drew lasted this long before he shared that little bit of knowledge with you. But thanks for being here with us.
I was holding.
Get out of here. Miss me with that. Thanks for being here, guys. We'll see y'all next week. Uncle Buck,
you get what you pay for. Go Rebs.
Congratulations, you new kid. See y'all next week.
Thank you for listening to the $2 Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, leave a rating and a review wherever you download your podcasts. Also, like and subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. For comprehensive coverage of all things Memphis sports, head over to www.bluffcitymedia.co and find out how you can become an insider. We will see you back here next time.